no one will forgive Netanyahu for not making this deal more than a year ago, when it was possible and it was proposed by President Biden.
Will the ceasefire hold? It's just a few hours old and Palestinians are already beginning to return to the north of Gaza. Prime Minister Netanyahu has hailed historic hostage, this historic hostage release deal in a call with President Trump. And Donald Trump is expected to arrive in Israel on Monday after attending a ceasefire agreement signing ceremony in Egypt. But whether or not there will be an enduring, lasting peace will depend on many factors. And with Israeli elections looming, what does the future look like for Benjamin Netanyahu? Well, let's now speak with Ehud Olmert, who was Prime Minister of Israel from 2006 to 2009, before Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu first took over. Ehud, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for joining us.
Hello.
How do you feel about where we are right now?
Well, we are about to complete the first phase of the comprehensive end of the war in Gaza agreement, which means that the Israeli forces withdrew to the backward line and that the hostages are due to come to Israel within 72 hours since noon today. That's where we are. I mean, this is not a peace agreement. This is an agreement to end the war, which is very significant. And also, of course, to bring back the hostages. So we are anxious to see that the first phase is completed and we have all the hostages back.
And as you say, this is a very fragile moment as we await the hostage release over this next 72 hours. I mean, Benjamin Netanyahu has, said that Monday should be a day of national joy. But how do you think the public in Israel will feel about this war coming to an end and what will come afterwards?
Well, of course, the public is somewhat divided. You just mentioned that there are factions in the cabinet of Ben-Gvir and Smotrich and the supporters who are against this agreement, so they are probably very unhappy. But I think that according to the latest poll, 82% of the Israelis support this agreement, and I think there is a very deep sigh of relief and joy coming Monday to see all the hostages back. That's what we wanted, and of course we knew that the only way to bring the hostages back is to end the war. So I'm not certain that some of the cabinet factions, including perhaps the Prime Minister, are entirely happy that this is an end of the war. But most of the Israelis are.
Mm. And look, what do you think all of this means for the future of Benjamin Netanyahu? I mean, he's had many critics, many within Israel. Some people have said, look, he could have brought this, the end of the war about sooner. I mean, do you think his days are numbered if this war comes to an end, particularly with the elections on the horizon?
Well, I hope so. I definitely hope so. No one will forgive Netanyahu for not making this deal more than a year ago, when it was possible and when it was proposed by President Biden at that time on the basis of a plan that was elaborated in the Israeli cabinet. So what we are celebrating now, we could have celebrated more than a year ago with many less victims of both sides, both Israeli soldiers and some of the hostages which were murdered at this period of time. And of course, many thousands of non-involved Palestinians living in Gaza, which didn't have to be killed, had the war ended up much earlier. So I think this is not something that will be forgotten and not something that will be forgiven. There is a certain degree of support for Netanyahu, but all the polls consistently show that he lost the trust of the majority of the Israeli people. as a result of the failures that he was responsible for from day one, from the 7th of October 2023, and since then, throughout these 2 years of war, which may have been ended, as I said, long ago. And due to his the prioritization of his personal interests over the national interest of the security of the State of Israel, he kept going and going and going for no good reason.
And look, Israel has many strong allies, Britain being one of them, but it has felt that particularly over the last few months, the sort of diplomatic community has, turned against Israel because of how Netanyahu has conducted this war. What do you think Netanyahu has done to Israel's international standing?
You just now said it in a very explicit manner. We lost the support of a very large part of the international community, particularly that part of the international community which was traditionally the staunchest friends of the State of Israel. You name it, the British government, French government, the Canadian government, German government, all over the world, all over Europe, demonstrations, riots, protests against, I believe, not really the State of Israel. In most cases, this is against the Israeli government for the reckless conduct of the affairs by the Prime Minister and the government of the State of Israel, and also by the statements and the principles which are represented by thugs like Ben-Gvir and Smotrich. Many of the Israeli friends, traditional friends, supporters, devoted supporters of the State of Israel couldn't tolerate this rhetoric of war and of persecution and of killing and of annexation and of deportation, which is represented by these groups of messianic supporters of Netanyahu.
And just two questions before I let you go. Quite a few of my listeners have messaged in saying, what will happen in the West Bank now? Because we spent a lot of time obviously focusing on Gaza, but there has been increasing settler violence in the West Bank. Do you think this war coming to an end, will that sort of affect what's happening in the West Bank?
Well, this is a very tough question because I know what happens in the West Bank, and this is something which is entirely intolerable. The persecutions, the violence, the aggression perpetrated by the Hilltop youth, which is quietly and passively supported by the law enforcement agencies of the Israeli government in the West Bank, is taking place massively for a long time. And I'm not certain that this will end if there will not be a very strong reaction by the Israeli police and the Israeli government. I'm criticizing it for a long time now because I think that it reflects the desire amongst some members of the cabinet and the unfortunately very influential members of the cabinet that really basically what they want is to try and push Palestinians from the West Bank away in order to make it possible for an eventual annexation of these territories. This is not on the national interest of Israel. We have to embark as soon as possible on a comprehensive peace plan and a dialogue with the Palestinian Authority in order to try and reach an agreement on the basis of what I proposed when I was Prime Minister in 2008 of a two-state solution. I proposed it then to the Palestinians as a Palestinian state alongside the state of Israel on the basis of the 67 borders, with the Arab side of Jerusalem as the capital of Palestine, and the old city of Jerusalem under no exclusive political sovereignty, but rather administered by a trust of 5 nations, including Saudi Arabia, Jordan, Palestine, Israel, and America. This is the basis for a solution. Entirely immaterial how many support it right now. At the end of the day, there will not be another solution but this one, a two-state solution. Okay. And if we want to prevent the return of what happened on the 7th of October in 2-3 years' time, we have to start and move forward in this direction. And if I can add, now that President Trump, I guess, is somewhat disappointed that he was not awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for this year. He still have a good chance to get it next year if he will use all his power of persuasion in order to force the Israeli side and the Palestinian side to get into an intense dialogue that will move forward towards this solution, a two-state solution. There is no alternative for it.
Well, look, Ehud, it's been really interesting speaking with you. It's a busy day for you, so very grateful for your time. Thanks very much for speaking with Times Radio.
Thank you.
That is Ehud Olmert, who was the Prime Minister of Israel from 2006 to 2009 before Benjamin Netanyahu's first tenure